The galactic court hung in the void like a crown of metal and light, spinning slowly around a dying red star. Its walls were miles high, shaped like a ring of silver and crystal, glimmering in the eternal night of space. From far away, it looked peaceful. From the inside, it felt like the beating heart of the galaxy, a place where empires rose and fell with a single sentence. On this day, the court was full. Ships from hundreds of worlds had gathered in orbit. Warships, trading vessels, diplomatic cruisers. Some were sleek as blades, others were hulking and scarred from battles. They came for the same reason, to watch a trial that would echo through history. In the center of the court, behind massive walls of energy shields, a single human sat in silence. Captain Taron Vance, decorated soldier of the Terran Defense Fleet, survivor of 3 wars, hero to his people, now stood accused of the most dangerous crime in the galaxy, threatening the peace of all known civilizations. Everyone in the galaxy knew the truth. This trial wasn't about justice. It was about making an example. The Council of Worlds feared humanity's growing influence. In only a few decades since joining galactic politics, humans had challenged ancient powers, built powerful fleets, and earned respect and suspicion. The easiest way to slow them down was to break their strongest figure. The trial was already decided. The only thing left was the performance. The Grand Hall of Judgment was vast, shaped like a circle so large that 1,000 voices could echo inside it at once. The floor was black stone, polished like glass, reflecting the shimmering banners of each alien species present. Rows of seats spiraled upward like an amphitheater, filled with beings of every shape, towering insectoids with crystal wings, reptilian warriors in heavy armor, floating jelly-like beings whose bodies pulsed with light and pale, thin humanoids with glowing eyes. At the very top sat the press galleries, buzzing with reporters and camera drones. Everything was being broadcast to trillions across the stars. In the center, under a pillar of white light, stood the accused platform, a small circle where Captain Vance waited. His hands were bound in glowing restraints. He did not bow his head. He did not frown. He simply watched. The reptilian High Judge Zarkul loomed behind the bench, his emerald-scaled body draped in a dark ceremonial robe. His voice could shatter stone when he spoke. On his left, 3 smaller judges, 1 avian, 1 insectoid, 1 machine intelligence, whispered in private. On his right, the lead prosecutor sat, his insectoid mandibles clicking with anticipation. Crixel, the prosecutor, was infamous. Known for twisting laws like a weapon, he had won cases even when all evidence pointed to his client's innocence. To him, truth was irrelevant. Only victory mattered. The trial was ready to begin. But then, a stir rippled through the crowd. The main doors of the hall, massive slabs of metal and stone, slowly swung open. A single figure entered. She was human. Tall, with dark hair tied back, dressed not in military uniform but in simple travel clothes. She carried no weapon, no data pad, nothing but a small silver pendant around her neck. The crowd reacted instantly. Murmurs filled the air. Many aliens turned their heads toward each other, whispering translations through their devices. What is she doing here? Another human? Are they trying to interfere? She'd be crushed in minutes. Foolish. The guards didn't stop her. That was unusual. This was the most secure chamber in the galaxy. Not even ambassadors could walk in unannounced. Yet here she was, walking straight toward the center as if she had been expected. Her name was Alara Shaw. Few in the galaxy had heard it before. Fewer still knew what she had done. But Captain Vance, he knew. And when his eyes met hers for the first time in months, something unspoken passed between them. A quiet message. I'm here. Don't give up. From his bench, High Judge Zarkul. Eyes narrowed. His voice rumbled across the hall like distant thunder. State your name and your purpose. Her voice, in contrast, was calm and clear. "Ilara Shaw, I am here as a witness for the defense." A sharp hiss of disapproval passed through the alien audience. Crixel stood immediately. "High Judge, this is irregular. Witness lists are finalized cycles before the trial. Humans cannot simply—" "Silence," Zarkul commanded, raising one clawed hand. His green eyes studied her. "Our laws allow one surprise witness, if the court permits." "Why should we allow you?" Ilara didn't flinch. "Because you've heard only one side of the story, and you know it." That sentence landed like a stone in water. Ripples of discomfort spread through the chamber. The judge was silent for several seconds. Finally, he gave a slow nod. "Very well, you may remain. But speak out of turn, and you will be removed." She gave a small bow, then stepped into the shadows along the defense side of the chamber. From there, she could see every face in the crowd. The trial began. Crixel's voice filled the hall, each word translated into dozens of alien tongues. "Honored Council, we are here to decide the fate of Captain Taron Vance, a man who brought war to peaceful worlds, who destroyed ancient treaties, and who, in his arrogance, endangered the lives of millions." He paced slowly, his insect legs clicking against the stone floor. "The evidence you will see is undeniable, the verdict inevitable. Humanity must be shown that it cannot break the laws of the galaxy without consequence." Ilara watched him carefully. His words were sharp, precise, but too perfect, like a script. Every pause, every emphasis was designed to make the audience agree before they even saw the so-called evidence. She had seen this before. Back on Earth, she had faced men like Crixel, men who thought truth was something they could shape. First pieces of evidence were displayed as giant holograms above the court, video footage of human warships firing on alien vessels, recordings of explosions over colony worlds, documents signed and sealed ordering attacks. The alien audience hissed and murmured. Some shouted curses toward Vance. The images looked damning. Ilara kept her expression neutral, but inside her mind, she was already counting the flaws. The ship markings were blurred. The timestamps didn't match known records. Some of the voices in the recordings didn't sound quite right. It was a performance, just as she expected. As the prosecution laid out its case, Ilara's presence continued to draw quiet attention. Some aliens in the upper seats leaned forward to study her. She didn't look afraid. She didn't even look impressed. Captain Vance remained silent, as per their unspoken agreement. Let them think the humans had no defense. Let them grow confident. When the first session ended for a short recess, reporters swarmed the edges of the chamber, throwing questions toward her. "Who are you? Do you speak for Earth? Is Captain Vance guilty?" She answered none of them. She simply walked to the edge of the defense platform and looked at the galaxy's cameras. For a brief second, across thousands of worlds, billions of beings saw her face, calm, steady, unshaken. And somewhere, far away, people on Earth saw her too, and wondered what she planned to do. When the trial resumed, the High Judge turned his gaze toward her. "Witness Shaw, you will be called soon. Be prepared." She nodded. Inside, her heartbeat quickened, not with fear, but with anticipation. The moment was coming. She knew she would only get one chance to make the galaxy doubt the court's version of the truth. From the prosecution's table, Crixel glanced at her with cold amusement, as if to say, "You don't belong here." She didn't smile back. Instead, she thought about the last message she had received from her commander before leaving Earth. Don't play their game. Make them play yours. And as the court prepared to hear her testimony, she knew exactly how she would do it. The court chamber felt colder when the second session began. The banners on the walls seemed to hang heavier, as if the air itself knew the weight of the moment. The glow from the massive ceiling lights shone brighter than before, forcing every detail of the trial into the open. Ilara Shaw sat at the defense side, watching the insectoid prosecutor move with quiet confidence. Crixel's 6 thin legs clicked against the black stone floor as he prepared his next display. His segmented eyes gleamed like pieces of glass under the lights. Captain Vance remained standing in the center of the platform, bound by the glowing restraints. His eyes did not wander. He watched Crixel, but his mind was elsewhere, calculating, remembering, waiting. The High Judge Zarkul's voice rumbled like distant thunder. "Proceed, Prosecutor Crixel." Crixel bowed slightly and stepped forward. "Honored counsel," he began, "what we have already seen proves beyond doubt that Captain Vance acted in violation of the Galactic Peace Accords. But now," his mandibles clicked in satisfaction, "now we shall hear from the witness his people have brought." The audience stirred. Many alien heads turned toward Ilara. Some whispered translations into their communication devices. Crixel looked directly at her. Ilara Shaw approached the stand. Her footsteps echoed through the hall. The defense side felt far away from the circular stand in the center. Every step was a reminder. Once she stood there, she would be alone. Surrounded on all sides by eyes waiting for her to fail. She reached the witness platform. A translucent field shimmered around her, the truth veil, a barrier designed to detect lies through minute shifts in pulse, breath, and neural patterns. The High Judge's gaze locked on her. "Witness Shaw, do you swear to speak with complete truth under the laws of the Galactic Court?" "Yes," she answered simply. The barrier gave no warning tone. The court acknowledged her oath. Crixel began at once. "State your relationship to the accused." "I served with Captain Vance during the Gorath border conflict," she said. "You were part of his crew?" "I was attached as a civilian analyst," she clarified. Crixel tilted his head slightly, his mandibles twitching. "And yet you are here to defend him." "Why?" "Because I was there," she replied, her voice steady. "I know what really happened." Crixel made a clicking noise that might have been amusement. "Very well. Then tell the court. Did Captain Vance order the attack on the Zadran colony?" A ripple passed through the audience. This was one of the central charges. Ilara's eyes did not leave Crixel. "No," she said. The truth veil remained silent, no lie detected. Crixel's tone sharpened. "But we have recordings showing human warships firing on civilian transports. Are you saying the recordings are false?" "I'm saying they're incomplete." Murmurs broke out in the gallery. The High Judge raised one claw to silence them. Crixel moved closer, circling her slowly like a predator. "Do you accuse the Galactic Court of presenting false evidence?" "I'm saying," Ilara repeated, "that someone wants you to believe only part of the story." Her calmness seemed to irritate him. "Answer my question clearly. Do you accuse this court of falsehood?" She turned her head slightly toward the gallery. "I accuse someone of wanting the truth hidden." The audience stirred again. The alien judges exchanged glances. Crixel clicked his mandibles sharply. "Very well. Let us examine your so-called truth. On the day of the Zadran incident, your ship, the TDS Sentinel, was within range of the colony, correct?" "Yes." "And your ship carried armed fighters?" "Yes." "And those fighters launched during the incident?" "Yes." The murmurs grew louder. Crixel's voice rose slightly. "So you admit that your ship, under the command of Captain Vance, launched armed fighters that attacked a civilian colony?" "No," she said, her tone still even. "I admit that fighters launched. I do not admit they attacked civilians." The truth veil stayed quiet. She was telling the truth. Crixel's glassy eyes narrowed. "Explain then." Ilara took a slow breath. She knew this was the trap, the moment he wanted her to rush, to speak too much, to contradict herself. She spoke instead with care. "There was an attack," she said. "But it did not start with us. Our fighters launched because another fleet entered the system. That fleet opened fire first. And the colony's shields, the ones we supposedly destroyed, were already down before we arrived. Gasps spread through the hall. Crixel laughed, a dry, clicking sound. Convenient story. Can you prove it? Can you prove your version without edited recordings? She countered. The High Judge's eyes glowed faintly. Prosecutor, is the evidence you presented complete and unaltered? It is as received. From certified intelligence sources, Crixel replied smoothly. ELA, RA stepped forward inside the truth veil. Sources who work for which government? Crixel ignored the question. Honored counsel, the witness seeks to evade. She presents no solid proof, only unsupported claims. She met his gaze. Because you've locked away the real data. And you know it. The chamber grew tense. Several alien representatives whispered urgently among themselves. Crixel's tone grew colder. If you make such accusations, you must have something to show. Do you? Alara's hand moved toward the silver pendant at her neck. Her fingers brushed it, but she did not open it yet. I have enough to make the galaxy wonder if they've been told the truth. Crixel scoffed. Wondering is not proof. Maybe not, she said, but wondering is where truth begins. The High Judge leaned forward. Witness Shaw, you will answer the next questions directly, no speeches. Ilara inclined her head slightly. Understood. Crixel began firing rapid questions. Did Captain Vance disobey the peace accords? No. Did he order the destruction of Zedrin's defenses? No. Did human forces kill civilians? Not intentionally. The audience caught the slight change in her last answer. Murmurs returned, sharper this time. Crixel pounced. So you admit civilians died because of human action? I admit civilians died in a battle neither side wanted, she said. Crixel's voice turned almost triumphant. The record will show the witness confirms human forces caused civilian casualties. Ilara finally smiled, just slightly. The record will also show that you have not proven who started the battle. For the first time, Crixel's movements hesitated. His legs paused mid-step. The High Judge's eyes narrowed. Prosecutor, proceed with caution. This court will not accept partial truths from either side. Crixel tried a different approach. Witness Shaw, why did you come here today? Surely you knew the risk. The court is not kind to humans who challenge it. I came, she said, because the truth has no voice here without me. Or perhaps, Crixel said slowly, you came because you were ordered to. Perhaps your government sent you to disrupt this trial. My government told me one thing, she replied. Don't play your game, make you play mine. The audience leaned forward. Even the distant press gallery fell silent for a moment. Crixel straightened, trying to regain control. We shall see whose game this is. I have more questions, and the witness will answer them all. But inside her mind, Ilara knew something Crixel did not. She had already planted the first seed of doubt in the hearts of billions watching the broadcast. The real trap wasn't his. It was hers. And the next move would be his mistake. The vast chamber of the Galactic Court was tense like never before. The silence after the prosecutor's last words was thick and heavy. Every alien in the hall was watching Ilara Shaw closely, waiting for her next move. They expected her to falter, to break under pressure like a fragile human often would. But Ilara was not fragile. She was calm. She stood in the translucent witness stand, surrounded by the shimmering truth veil. Her dark eyes scanned the audience, but her mind was sharp, working on a plan that no one could guess. Captain Taron Vance, the accused, watched her with steady eyes. He believed in her. That belief gave her strength. The insectoid prosecutor, Crixel, flicked his many limbs impatiently. His segmented eyes gleamed with cunning. He was ready to trap her further, to twist her words and make her fall. But Ilara was ready for him. Crixel began again, voice sharp and loud. Witness Shaw, you claim the evidence is incomplete, yet you have shown nothing but words. Do you have proof to back your claims? Ilara took a breath and answered clearly, I do. But it will take time. To show, the court murmured. No one was used to a human speaking like this, so calm, so sure. Time, said the judge, is a luxury we do not have. The court demands immediate answers. Ilara met his gaze without fear. Then I will start by showing how the court's translation system changes my words. A murmur of surprise swept the court. The Galactic Court's translation system was known to be perfect, the best in the galaxy. To suggest it could be flawed was almost a challenge to the court itself. Ilara pointed to a small device on her wrist, a simple, human-made bracelet with a blinking light. This device, she said, records exactly what I say. It sends my words directly, without any filter or change. The judge raised his claw. That device is unauthorized. It cannot be allowed, but Ilara was fast. I do not ask permission to prove the truth. The guards moved to stop her, but the judge hesitated. The entire court was watching. To stop her now would only cause suspicion. Ilara activated the device. Her voice flowed into the court speakers, but this time, the translation was different. She repeated the prosecutor's questions, then her answers, word for word. The court heard her say clearly, no, Captain Vance did not order the attack on the Zidring colony. But the subtitles on the massive screens showed something else. The court's official translation had changed her answer to, yes, Captain. Vance is responsible for the attack. Gasps echoed through the courtroom. Alien murmurs filled the air like buzzing insects. Some leaned forward in shock. Others whispered urgently to each other. Crixel's mandibles clicked sharply. This is an attack on the court's authority. You tamper with the sacred translations, Ilara smiled softly. I only show what the court system has done. The judges looked at each other, their faces hard to read behind layers of alien features. The High Judge Zarkol's emerald eyes glowed faintly as he considered the evidence. Is this true? He asked the court's translation officer, a glowing AI hovering near the bench. The AI responded in a clear voice. Translation logs confirm discrepancies. Errors have occurred. The system is operating under heavy external interference. The court erupted into chaos. The press galleries buzzed louder than before. Broadcast signals showed the moment live across billions of planets. Crixel tried to regain control. This is sabotage. A human trick to confuse the court. Ilara's voice was calm but strong. It is not a trick. It is truth. As the court settled, Ilara continued. If my words can be changed, then what about the other evidence? The videos, the documents? Crixel's legs twitched with anger. Enough of this nonsense. Ilara raised her hand. Please listen. She pulled a small data pad from her jacket and projected a hologram into the center of the court. It showed video footage from multiple angles, including ships unknown to the prosecution's evidence. The footage revealed a group of alien warships arriving first, firing on the colony's defenses before the human fighters responded. The crowd gasped. Again, several species exchanged stunned looks. This footage, Ilara said, was hidden from the court. It shows the truth you did not want to see. Crixel was furious but forced to remain silent as the judges studied the footage carefully. The AI translation officer chimed in. The data sources for this footage are verified and unaltered. One of the alien judges, an avian with silver feathers, leaned forward. This changes everything. The High Judge Zarkol's voice thundered. Prosecutor, how do you explain this? Crixel's mandibles clicked as he tried to speak, but no words came immediately. Ilara seized the moment. This trial was never about justice. It was about stopping humanity. She looked directly at the court. If we allow lies to decide fate, then peace is a lie too. The court was silent again. Every eye was on her. The cameras zoomed in on her face, steady and unshaken. Suddenly, the chamber's emergency lights flickered. The massive doors sealed shut with a heavy thud. An announcement came from the judge. Due to recent events, the court is now in lockdown. All transmissions will be suspended until further notice. The press galleries erupted in protests. The broadcast across the galaxy flickered and then cut off. Ilara's heart pounded. This was the moment Crixel wanted, to isolate her, to silence the truth. But Ilara had planned for this. She tapped her wrist device and activated a hidden signal. Outside the court, a network of satellites picked up the signal, relaying it to thousands of hidden receivers across the galaxy. The broadcast was already moving beyond the court's control. Inside the chamber, some aliens were whispering nervously. The trial had lost its grip on the narrative. Captain Vance spoke for the first time since the trial began. His voice was calm but strong. This court must not become a tool for lies. If justice dies here, then the galaxy's peace dies with it. The judge's eyes locked on Vance. You speak boldly for a prisoner. I speak for all who believe in truth, Vance answered. Ilara looked at him and felt a surge of hope. The tide was turning. Outside the court, the broadcast signal reached millions of listening ears. The story was spreading fast. Aliens across the galaxy were beginning to question the official version. Back inside, Crixel's face twisted in anger. This is rebellion, the judge stood, his voice cold. Order, this court will not be disrupted by defiance. But Ilara's voice rang out again. Sometimes, defiance is the only path to justice. The chamber held its breath. The trial would never be the same. The tension in the Galactic court reached its peak. The chamber, once full of quiet whispers and cautious glances, was now a storm of voices and flashing lights. Ilara Shaw stood calm amid the chaos, her dark eyes bright with purpose. Her silver pendant glimmered faintly beneath her jacket, hidden from view but ready. The massive doors had slammed shut, sealing the hall in lockdown. No one could enter or leave. The court's broadcast was cut off by the official order, but Ilara's signal was already spreading beyond their control. Prosecutor Crixel paced angrily near his seat, clicking his mandibles in frustration. His plan to crush the human defense was crumbling before his eyes. High Judge Shar Cool's emerald gaze flicked between the defendant and the witness. This trial is no longer about Captain Vance alone. It is about the integrity of the Galactic court, the judges whispered among themselves, the atmosphere heavy with uncertainty. Ilara took a deep breath. It was time. She stepped forward and held up her hand, showing the court a small device, no bigger than a human palm, glowing softly with blue light. This, she said clearly, is the truth beacon. The room fell silent. Some of the alien representatives gasped. Others leaned forward, curious but wary. The truth beacon was a human invention, banned in most galactic courts because it revealed hidden lies in speech and recordings. It could break through AI filters and corrupt translations. Crixel's eyes narrowed sharply. You cannot use such a device here. It is forbidden. Ilara's voice remained steady. The court claims to seek the truth. If so, it must allow the truth beacon to prove it. The High Judge glanced at his fellow judges. After a tense moment, he nodded. Very well. You may activate it. Ilara switched on the device. Its soft blue light grew brighter, casting faint shadows on the black stone floor. Suddenly, the entire court was flooded with a new broadcast, raw, unfiltered data flowing from the truth beacon. The holographic screens around the chamber lit up with images and sounds. Clear, unedited footage of the Zedren incident. Ships of many kinds moved across the stars, firing in sudden bursts. Alien warships, not human, struck first, disabling colony defenses. Then human fighters responded, but only after the initial attack. The audience watched in stunned silence. For the first time, they saw the full story, not the version crafted by the prosecution. Crixel's many limbs twitched in anger. "This footage is fabricated," he hissed. Ilara smiled faintly. "The footage is from multiple independent sources. Verified, untouched." The eye translation officer scanned the data. Verification complete. No signs of tampering. The alien judges exchanged uneasy looks. Suddenly, the truth beacon emitted a sharp pulse. The hologram shifted to another scene. A hidden conversation recorded secretly on a ship's communication channel. The recording played aloud, filling the chamber with voices, Crixel's voice among them. "I will make sure this trial ends quickly," the voice said. "The humans must not be allowed to spread their lies. I have edited the recordings. They will believe what I tell them." A murmur ran through the crowd. Alien representatives whispered urgently. The High Judge slammed his clawed fist on the Philian representatives whispered urgently. "Bench, is this true, prosecutor?" Crixel's mandibles twitched nervously. I was following orders. Orders to cheat justice?" The judge growled. Crixel looked around, realizing the court had turned against him. Ilara took the moment to speak again. "This trial was rigged from the start. You planned to condemn Captain Vance without real evidence. You tried to silence me." The courtroom exploded with shouts and questions. Some aliens demanded Crixel's removal. Others called for the trial to restart with new rules. The High Judge raised a hand for silence. "Order. This court will decide the next steps." But the power of the truth beacon had changed everything. Outside the court, the broadcast that Ilara had secretly sent continued to spread. Across thousands of planets, billions of beings saw the proof of corruption in the Galactic Court. Peaceful species and warlike ones alike began questioning their leaders. The once solid foundation of galactic law began to shake. Inside the chamber, Captain Vance finally spoke. His voice was calm but firm. "If this court cannot be trusted, then what hope does the galaxy have?" The judge looked at him gravely. "The hope is in you, Captain, and in the courage of witnesses like Ms. Shaw." Crixel was arrested on the spot. His many limbs were shackled with energy binds. He struggled but could not break free. Ilara watched, quietly, feeling the weight of what had happened. This was only the beginning. The court would have to change, or it would fall. The judge turned to the audience. "Due to these revelations, the trial will be suspended. We will convene with neutral observers from multiple species to review the case." The crowd reacted with a mixture of relief and anger. Change was coming. Ilara stepped back, her mission far from over. She glanced at Captain Vance. "This fight is not finished," he nodded, "but we have won the first battle." As the court emptied, whispers spread like wildfire. The story of the rigged trial and the defiant human witness would be told across the stars for generations. Ilara Shaw had done the impossible. She had torn open the veil of lies and forced the truth to shine. The galaxy was watching. The Galactic Court had never seen a moment like this. After the shocking revelations brought forth by Ilara Shaw and the Truth Beacon, the chamber was thick with unrest. Alien voices rose and fell like waves in a storm, and even the grand architecture seemed to tremble under the weight of doubt. Outside, billions of beings across countless worlds waited, watching the broadcast, hanging on every word. This trial was no longer just about Captain Taron Vance. It had become a symbol, a test of the entire galaxy's justice. The judge, Zarkul, a massive reptilian with emerald scales shining dimly in the hall's bright light, sat heavy on his throne. His deep eyes scanned the room, trying to find order in the chaos. "Order," he bellowed, voice like rolling thunder. The courtroom slowly quieted, but tension remained thick in the air. Captain Vance stood quietly at the center platform. His hands were no longer bound. The restraints had been removed after the recent turn of events. He looked calm, but inside his mind raced. This was their moment, the moment to prove that humanity's fight was not just survival, but also justice. Ilara stood beside him, her face steady, ready for what was to come. The judges whispered among themselves. For the first time, many felt uncertain. They could no longer ignore the evidence of corruption. The galaxy was watching and expecting change. Suddenly, a loud sound interrupted the court. The chamber doors slid open. A group of beings entered, the neutral observers. They came from distant, lesser-known worlds. Each was different, one a tall, stoic amphibian, another a small, glowing energy being, and another a heavily armored stone-skinned giant. The judge nodded to them respectfully. "You have been summoned to oversee this trial's continuation." The lead observer, the amphibian, stepped forward. "We will ensure the trial is fair and honest. The galaxy demands it." The crowd gave a mixed response. Some cheered. Others remained silent. But all knew this was a new beginning. Crixel sat restrained in a holding cell within the court complex. His many limbs trembled with rage and fear. He glared at the monitors showing the ongoing proceedings. "This is not over," he hissed. "They will regret this." But deep down, even he felt the walls closing in. His carefully crafted web of lies had unraveled. Back in the courtroom, the trial resumed with new rules. Every piece of evidence would be re-examined. Every witness would be heard. No more shortcuts. Ilara and Captain Vance prepared to face the prosecution again. But this time, with the galaxy watching closely, they felt hope. The first to speak after the new observers took their seats was Ilara Dot. She stepped to the stand and spoke clearly. This trial was never about truth. It was about fear. Fear of humanity's rise. But the truth cannot be hidden. The court was silent. She continued. "The evidence you saw before was altered. My role here is to restore what was lost." She projected new holograms, detailed logs, communications between alien fleets, and data from independent sources showing the full timeline of the Zadran incident. The alien judges and observers studied the data closely. One of the observers, the glowing energy being, spoke quietly. "This evidence changes the narrative. It shows the initial attack was from unknown alien forces, not humans." The stone-skinned giant nodded. "The peace of the galaxy depends on justice, not prejudice." The amphibian observer turned to the high judge. "This trial must set a precedent. Fairness for all species, including humans." Zarkol nodded slowly. "So it shall be." Captain Vance was called to speak. For the first time in the trial, he addressed the court directly. "My actions were meant to protect lives, both human and alien. I did not start the war, but I stood to stop it." His words were strong, clear, and honest. The court listened. But Crixel was not done. From his holding cell, he tried to send messages to hidden allies, desperate to find a way to salvage the trial. Yet the galaxy had already changed. Public opinion shifted. Leaders across many worlds demanded transparency and fairness. Back in the courtroom, Ilara delivered her final statement for the day. "Justice is not about power, it is about truth. And today, the truth has begun to shine." The court nodded, some more reluctantly than others. The trial was no longer a simple performance. It was a real fight for the soul of the galaxy. Outside, the broadcast resumed. Across billions of homes, ships, and stations, aliens watched in hope and wonder. Ilara Shaw, the defiant human witness, had become a symbol, proof that even in the darkest moments, courage and truth could change the universe. The great chamber of the Galactic Court was packed to the brim once more. After weeks of tense proceedings, shocking revelations, and fierce debates, the day had come to deliver the verdict on Captain Taron Vance's trial. The eyes of the galaxy were fixed on this moment, billions of beings watching, waiting for justice or judgment. Ilara Shaw stood near Captain Vance. their shoulders squared and spirits strong. Both knew that this verdict was more than just about one man. It was about humanity's place in the galaxy and the future of peace. Among stars, the High Judge Zarkol sat solemnly on his throne, his massive scaled hands resting on the bench. Around him, the judges and neutral observers waited in silence. The hum of the court's energy shields and distant. Starships filled the air like a slow heartbeat. The judge raised his clawed hand and began. After careful consideration, reviewing all evidence, testimonies, and the Truth Beacon's revelations, this court is ready to deliver its final judgment. A hush fell over the hall. Captain Taron Vance, Zarkol said, his voice steady and grave, you have been accused of actions that endangered galactic peace and violated the peace accords. He paused. Every being in the chamber leaned in, waiting. But, the judge continued, we find that the evidence presented by the prosecution was altered and incomplete. The chamber erupted into whispers. The so-called attacks were in response to an unprovoked assault by unknown alien fleets, as confirmed by multiple independent sources. He looked directly at Captain Vance. You acted to defend your people and others under threat. You did not start this conflict. The crowd's tension eased. Some gasped in relief. Others nodded slowly. The High Judge continued, however, this court also recognizes that the battle resulted in civilian casualties. War is never without cost. He looked to Ilara Shaw. Your testimony and courage brought to light the truth. You upheld the highest ideals of justice. Ilara bowed her head slightly. The judge's eyes locked on Crixel, who was brought forward in energy restraints. Prosecutor Crixel, your actions to falsify evidence and manipulate the court's translation system betray the trust of this institution. The court's audience gasped again. You are hereby stripped of your rank and sentenced to confinement in the Galactic Detention Facility for crimes against justice. Crixel hissed but was led away. His plan was destroyed. The High Judge Zarkol turned back to the chamber. This trial is a turning point. The Galactic Court must reform to ensure fairness, transparency, and respect for all species. He raised his clawed hand in a solemn gesture. Let this be the day we choose justice over fear, truth over lies. Captain Vance stepped forward. His voice rang strong through the chamber. I accept this verdict. I accept responsibility for my actions during war. But I stand proud of humanity's courage and hope for a better future. The chamber erupted in applause, a mix of alien and human voices, united in a moment of rare harmony. Ilara looked at Vance, then at the gathered crowd. This is not the end, she said softly. It is a new beginning. The galaxy was watching, and now it hoped. Outside, transmissions of the verdict spread fast. Aliens across planets and space stations celebrated the truth's victory. Peace might still be fragile, but hope was alive. And humanity had earned its place among the stars, not just as warriors, but as bearers of justice.